Good day, YouTubers. Welcome back to my channel. So my uncle just passed from a stroke and diabetes near the end of May. He was perhaps 69 or early 70s. He was not very old, frankly, for my family. My mother passed in June at 93, just before her 94th birthday. I don't know what day. I got the news from my sister. She kept telling me this was in May, in late May, that he had passed in June. And so I'm thinking, you mean a year ago in June? And so it wasn't even June yet. It's June when I'm publishing this. So I looked up my phone records and I see I was talking with him at Thanksgiving in November, right after I found out my mother passed. So I found out my mother passed last June, and I found out November 23rd that she had passed 6 months later, which is what this video is about. So I was talking to him then because he's the go-between between me and my family because I really don't talk to my family very much. So I texted my sister back directly and I said, "Are you anticipating his death in June?" Because I was just talking to him, around Thanksgiving. And then finally she says, "Oh, I meant he passed in May," which it was May at the time. So perhaps she's getting dementia or Alzheimer's because she seems really out of it. She's quite a bit older than me. She's 12 years older than me. So I'm 57. So that makes her 69 or maybe 70 at this point. But honestly, my family lies at me so much. I'm not even certain he's passed. I can't, and I feel unable to mourn his death because I don't have any details. I don't even know the day he died. I don't know really much details. Nobody's talking to me. That's just typical. So I actually am having a lot of trouble believing that my uncle has actually passed. So now down to the point of this video. Why didn't my family tell me about my mother's death for 6 months? She died in June last year, and they waited 6 months and almost 7 months until November 23rd to tell me. I because I have exactly 6 months on the statutory clock from the date of the death of the decedent, my mother, to sue the estate. So you literally have from the date of death 6 months to sue the estate. So they ran the clock for 6 months from her death to ensure that I could not sue the estate. Why? Well, when I got the will, which I got from the county, not from any of my relatives, it turns out I was left 1/3 of my mother's house in the will. That's worth $534,000. So when I got the will, I'm like, well, that's really nice. I mean, I'm glad that's really nice of my mother. I really appreciate that. And I said a prayer for her in her passing because you should pray for the past. I didn't have the best relationship with my mother. I didn't see or speak to her for the past 25 years. Why? Because I'm a dick? No, because every time I see anyone in my family, they literally try to kill me. So I don't see any of them anymore. So I was a little surprised that I was left anything in her will. And that's the pattern. My brother and my sister, they're getting everything from my father and mother when they pass and from my aunt. And I'm basically getting nothing. And I literally got nothing from my father when he passed. He gave it all to my brother and some to my sister. So the only thing I was getting in the will from my mother in her passing is 1/3 of the house, and they stole it. Okay, so my sister and my brother stole my inheritance again. The slave, me, has no rights. I exist in this family and on this earth simply for the purposes of being used, abused, and robbed, and used also as the scapegoat for all their sins. And their sins are many and great. My family, my father, and these family members are the greatest murderers, kidnappers, torturers, child molesters in human history. And I keep telling the cops where the bodies are, but they won't dig them up yet because my father was a cop, and all the people in his gang were cops. So after I get a copy of the will, I find out I'm receiving 1/3 of my mother's house proceeds. So I check online because you can check out real estate online, and I see the house is not listed for sale. So I text my sister, "Are you waiting for probate to close before listing the house for sale?" "No," she explains, "the house was sold years ago." So my loving brother and sister, they sold the house and stole my inheritance again. She then quickly adds that there are 3 additional properties, given, of course, to her and my brother, in addition to their share of the house, which I am realizing. And she and my brother will very generously, she offers very generously to give me 1/3 of the sale proceeds of these 3 other properties. Well, that's not in the will. Okay. And I realize immediately that they're under no legal obligation to do any of this. It's just like a gift. And I wonder, immediately, I wonder if this is another trick. I mean, because they're so loving and all. Another very carefully crafted lie to pacify me and string me along another day and another day and another day. And later, she'll just simply say, well, I never said that. I never told you we would sell those properties and split them with you. Why would we split them with you? Or she'll just say, well, we decided not to sell the properties at this time. Go pound sand again. So the estate inventory just came out, which lists all of the inventory in my mother's estate. Listed right at the top are the 3 properties in question and their valuation, which is $150,000. So this bait and switch adds up to, she's, quote, offering me 1/3, non-binding of 150K, so which that's 50,000 for me, which is not nothing. That's, if that was the real deal, then that would be fine. Whatever is fine if it's the real deal. Okay. But 1/3 of the house sale, my portion of that house sale is $180,000. So $50,000 is the consolation prize, which they're offering me, which is non-binding, or the real, what I was actually supposed to receive, which they stole from me, was $180,000. So the long and short of this con is that no one in the family told me of my mother's death for 6 months because I had 6 months to sue the estate over the theft of my inheritance. In the most cold, ruthless, and calculated manner, they were simply running the statute out so that I couldn't sue them for stealing my inheritance. Again, we love you, Joseph. We love you, Joseph. We love you, right? Yeah, right.